Hi, in this video we will learn how to secure our application using authorized domains. Let me quickly explain you what I mean by authorized domains and how we can how we can configure authorized domains in AutoJig. Assume that you get a front-end application, web-based front-end application, either you have coded it in React or Vue or Angular or whatever front-end framework or library you used, and you get an AutoJig backend. Typically what happens is the following. Your front-end integrates with your AutoJig backend application through RESTful APIs or WebSockets if you are using the real-time functionality of AutoJig. And what you would like to do is the following. You would like to authorize use of your backend services only to some specific domains. Let's assume that your application is hosted at www.mydomain.com, meaning that this is your domain, and you are restricting the use of your backend services if there is a call, if there is a request coming from, particularly from that specific domain. So you authorize www.mydomain.com that this domain can consume any request coming from this domain can consume the AutoJig backend services. So how you do that one? You define the domain authorization in your client keys or API keys that you create in AutoJig, and you specify these are the list of the domains that this client key or the API key can be used, and these are the domains that are associated with this one, and only requests that are originating from these domains can use the AutoJig services through those client key or the API key. So let's see in a simple example what we mean. We already have an application called real-time presence. I will be opening this application. It's a very basic one, and this application is one of the showcase applications that we are using, and it basically provides real-time, it showcases the real-time features of AutoJig. Okay, what we will be doing is the following. I will go to the application settings, and I will be moving to the client library keys, and there's a client library key called real-time example. Okay, so let's go to the demo of this application. If you go to the application website, under the resources, you can go to the showcase area, and under the showcase, okay, let's wait a couple of seconds. Okay, so under the showcase part, you can see the real-time presence application. Let's click on this one. Okay, this is the real-time application. What it does basically is, if I put here my name, if I put this one, then I can see my mouse movements, etc. So if somebody else joins this channel, I can also see the mouse movements of the other person. Okay, so basically through the WebSocket real-time communication, it sends the mouse coordinates and the color of the mouse to the channel, and other channel members can also receive that, let's say, mouse movements, and can see it on their screens. So this is a very simple application. Let's go to the inspector part of this thing. Okay, let's move to the console. There are some log messages here. What I will do is the following. I will go back to my application, okay, and I will open the real-time example, and I will go to the advanced part. Okay, under the advanced part, I can see authorization, domain authorizations. So this HTTPS real-time 10 version app, which is basically the domain of this thing, okay, this has been listed as an authorized domain. Let me remove this thing. Okay, I will delete this one. I will update thing. Okay, and I will try to use this, let's say, application. Let me refresh this thing. Okay, as you can see, I immediately received an error message saying that, hey, this domain is not an authorized domain that you can use, right? You need a domain that is authorized in order to use that client key. So if I go back to, let me copy this thing. If I copy this thing, if I go back to here, and if I add this domain as an authorized domain back, update it, then if I refresh this thing, okay, so AutoJig basically, this application basically makes a successful connection. Okay, then I can use the services, application services. So this is one example where you specify the domain authorization. For the client keys, under the advanced tab, you can list all the domains that are authorized to use this client key. If there is no domain authorization, then you can mark it as all domains. In that case, it doesn't enforce any kind of domain checks. This is one way. The second thing that you can also configure the domain authorization is through the API keys. If you go to your development environment or the environment that your application is running on, under the API keys, okay, if you open this one under the advanced one, again, you can see you can configure the domain authorizations here also. So in our case, for example, I can also add this one, this application in the domain authorizations. What's the difference between this one and the client key one? Basically, the client key in client key, in the AutoG client library, there are multiple modules, right? Real-time module, database module, authentication module, etc. And that domain authorization is applicable to all the, let's say, the functions, library functions. Whenever you use the library functions, AutoG makes a check whether that function is called, the function call is originated from an authorized domain or not. And in the API key case, you're not obliged, you're not forced to use the AutoG client library, right? I mean, you can use any HTTP client like the Axios or Fetcher and so on from your front end. And in that case, whenever you make a RESTful API call using this API key, then if you also listed some authorized domains, then AutoG will make a check whether the endpoint is called from that specific authorized domain or not. If it is not called from the authorized domain, then it will raise an error message. So that's basically the main difference. Let me update this one. Okay. So basically two places that you configure the domain authorization. One on the API keys under the advanced tab, and the other one under the project settings, client library keys. And again, on the advanced tab, you can configure your authorized domains. I hope this helps. Thanks a lot for watching.